Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's do another example with ellipse question. Here's the question. It says, identify the center, the vertices, the co-vertices. We asked to find the foci and identify the major and minor axes, the length of the major and minor axes. Then we asked to graph the ellipse, and then we asked to go clean a room for 5 minutes. I'm just kidding, of course, but as long as we're doing all of this, we might as well go clean the room for 5 minutes. But anyway, so let's look at the question now. And here it is: x, the quantity x plus 5 squared divided by 81 plus the quantity y minus 1 squared divided by 144 equals 1. So we recognize that this is an ellipse because the general equation of an ellipse is, as I've stated, is x minus vx squared over a squared plus y minus vy squared over b squared equals 1. So in an ellipse, both the x and the y values are squared, and they're added together like this. Now, the only difference in this example is the a value is under the y. So instead of being like this, okay, the a's and b's are switched. So this is actually the a squared, and this is actually the b squared value. Okay, and that's important to understand, because whatever the value, the bigger value is, that's the semi-major axis. That's the length of the half of the major axis. That's a. So whichever one of these two numbers between these two is the bigger value, that is going to be the a. Okay, and that's the point of this question I wanted to bring to your attention. Now, that's important because that determines whether or not an ellipse is a horizontal or a vertical ellipse. Since the a is the denominator for the y value, right here, it's going to be a vertical ellipse, okay? It's going to kind of look like this type of an ellipse, okay? So that's the whole point of the question, okay? So let's get started then. First, we recognize the center is shifted. There's a translation of the center. It's not at the origin anymore, and so it's going to be derived from these two values over there. So the center is going to be, therefore, in our affectionate terminology, we use Vx and Vy for the center coordinate. That's going to be -5 and 1. So that's the center. Now, since we know a squared is 144, and the square root of that, a is going to be equal to a square root of 144 is 12. And b squared, we understand, is 81. So b therefore is 9. Now, I just again want to emphasize, and I don't mean to belabor the point, a squared is 144. If you solve for a, you get a is plus or minus 12, right? And that's not incorrect to say, but I like to think of a and b as distances, and distances are absolute values of numbers, okay? But some textbooks do say it like this, okay? And that's perfectly all right, but I like to think of a and b as distance values, and they are absolute values. Distance is an absolute value. So we have a and b. And if you recall from our previous discussion, we have realized that c squared is a squared minus b squared, and that's the new equation that we have to understand for an ellipse. Now, if you don't remember this, then you can quickly draw a baby ellipse, and you can even draw a vertical baby ellipse if you like. And you understand that for this semi-major axis here, that's going to be a, and this is going to be b, and the foci is always located on the major axis. So, and then if you were to create a imaginary right triangle over here, the biggest side would have to be the hypotenuse. That would be a, and c and b would be like this. So c squared plus b squared would be a squared, or c squared would be a squared minus b squared, as I have written over here. So that's the relationship between a, b, and c, and that's imperative for us to appreciate if you want to solve for c, of course. So Then we have c squared is a squared, which is 144, minus b squared, which is 81. So c squared is 63, and c is going to be therefore plus or minus square root. We can, let's just put a plus or minus square root of 63. Now 63 is 9 times 7, so you can simplify this, and this becomes plus or minus 3 square root of 7. Okay, so so let's write this down, maybe over here. So c is 3 square root of 7. Okay, so now we have a, b, and c, and we are fully armed and dangerous, so to speak. Now let's try to graph this then. Now we understood that the center is shifted. It's negative 5 and 1. So let's place that in our graph. And we understand here also a and b are big numbers, so we're going to have to use be careful. So I'm going to use this is instead of 1, this would be negative 2, and this would be negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, negative so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and negative 12 like this. I'm going to go by 2's, and this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12, if I did this correct. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And then this could be, I'm going to label it on this side just for the heck of it. And negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, negative 10, negative 12, like that. Okay. Now let's graph this. So the center is going to be for us negative 5. It's going to be here. And positive 1 right there. That's the center. So let's label that as negative 5 and 1. That's our center. For some reason pencil seems to work out better for us, so we just do it that way. So negative 5 and 1, that's the center. And from here we're going to do A's and B's. Now we know it's going to be a vertical ellipse, so we're going to go A distance up 12. So okay, 12 plus 1 is going to be 13, so it's going to be like over here. Alright, so that's going to be A is going to be from here to here. Right. Now you can draw out new pseudo-axes, so to speak. Let's just draw out the new axes, because center is shifted. If it helps you, you can kind of draw it this like this. Alright. Alright. The new x and y axis, so to speak. Okay, you can make that dotted if you want. So like this. Some students really like to make their work neat. I must confess, I was probably one of those. Okay, now here we go. And then, so the major vertices are going to be the vertex of these ellipses is going to be A going up 12, so it's going to be negative 5, and that's 12, 13. So this is negative 5 and 13. That's going to be one of the vertices. And 12 down, he'll be 11. So that's negative 5 and 11. Negative 11, the second vertices. And then we have B. We have to go 9 each ways. So this is negative 5 plus 9 is going to be 4. That's going to be 4, 1, I believe. I hope I'm doing this right. And 9 this way. So that's B, right? So from here to here is B. And I have to go from here to B to get the other side. So B is 9. So 9, 5 plus 9, right? That's 14. Correct? Okay, that's right. Yes. So that's going to be like over here. Okay. So that's going to be negative 14. Okay, and 1. Okay, so we got our vertices. Now we can try to draw this. So let's try to now draw our ellipse. Okay, it's going to be like this. Okay. Artistic version. Van Gogh version. And here it is. That's our ellipse. So now the foci. So here's the center. We have identified our center. The foci are going to be again on the major axis. They're going to be c removed from here, so we have to go c distance up here. And 3 square root of 7 is approximately 7.93. So it's going to be added to 1, it's going to be 8.93, it's going to be somewhere over here. So the foci is going to be here, the first one. It's going to be negative 5, it's going to be again on the major axis. Okay. So it's going to be on the major axis. Try to be neat. Negative 5 and 1 plus 3 square root of 7. That didn't come out so well, did it? So let's just write, I'm just going to put F1 over there, and then I'm just going to write F1 over here. Okay, it's going to be negative 5 and 1 plus 3 square root of 7. And the second foci is going to be 7 down, so it's going to be 7 down, it's going to be 7 over here, it's going to be somewhere over here, right? So that's going to be F2. So that's going to be negative 5, 1 minus 3 square root of 7, like this. Okay? So now we can answer all the questions. Okay? So identify the center, so which we did over here, and identify the vertices. So the vertices are going to be, okay, they're going to be 4, 1, and negative 14, 1. And the co-vertices, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake there, didn't I? The vertices are going to be negative 5, 13, and negative 5, negative 11. And the co-vertices will be 4, 1, and negative 14, 1. We did that. We know the foci. The foci are going to be negative 5. I'm just going to write this as 1 plus or minus 3 square root of 7 to save space. We got the foci. The length of the major axis length is going to be 2 times A, right? A was 12, that's 24. And the length of the minor axis is going to be 2 times B, which is 18. So we did that. And then we graph the ellipse. All that remains now is for you to go clean your room for 5 minutes. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.